Hello everyone, and happy holidays from Calcarn Farms. Today I want to talk a little bit about winter dormancy in Sarracenia and when to cut them back. So let's take a little bit of a look at what my plants are looking at right now. You can see all of the Sarracenia are looking pretty darn rough. And don't worry about that, because that's actually how they're supposed to look. They're temperate perennial plants, which means they need to go dormant in the winter and they die back to a rhizome. I've said that to everyone many times. One of the questions we get all the time is when to cut these things back. And if you're like a, persnickety mover kind of a person who always wants to be fussing with their plants, kind of like me, the tendency is going to want to cut these back quickly and soon, as soon as they go brown. And you can do that. You can see on this flava that all these old pictures here hanging over the side have gone completely brown, and they're not serving any purpose anymore for sure. So you could cut those neatly back at the rhizome here. You can see these are ones that we cut back last year. You don't have to be super close with it or anything, but if you want to look tidier, you can even pull these old ones away usually. Not today, obviously, but you can pull those away. I think if I had two hands, I'd be able to do it. These are Phyllodia. Don't cut these off especially. So these are they're not pitchers, obviously. They're leaf-like, non-open pitchers. You can see that basically it's just an ala. The pitcher would be this thin little midrib, and that's been totally reduced to that midrib. And then the ala, which is the wing in the front of the pitcher, has been enlarged, and that forms this Phyllodia. So it can't catch any bugs, but it is photosynthesizing. Even though these plants aren't actively growing, they are, doing some light photosynthesis during these short winter days if they can. And so definitely don't cut those off. And even these kind of funky looking pitchers, there's still life in those, and those are probably still providing nutrients to the plants from the insects that they caught, and also, still doing some photosynthesis. Another thing about leaving all these pitchers on is frost protection. So they are extremely hardy. Sarracenia flava grows all the way up into Virginia. Sarracenia purpurea, subspecies purpurea, that grows even way farther north than that. And so they can take extreme cold, but if it gets really cold, you will see some rhizome die off possibly. And they're totally residing in this growth point down here. There's a nice growth point there. And when they get big bushy pitchers like this, most of the freeze action is going to happen up on top of there, and it just gives a little bit more insulation. If you're in a super freezing spot and you're going to bury them underneath mulch and snow, I probably would go ahead and cut all the old pitchers away before you do that. When they're out in the open like this, they're not going to rot, but underneath a bunch of mulch and snow, you might get some botrytis or rot going in those old pitchers, and it'd be a good idea to trim those away. The best time to trim these off is just before they start to grow, whenever that is where you are. Here, that's usually like late January, February, probably a little bit later anywhere where it's colder. But the goal is to cut them back just as they're starting to grow, when it's nice and easy and you don't have to worry about cutting off this year's pitchers.